All right, well, we will get started. Welcome, everybody. How are we doing? It's our first meeting of the new year, 2026. Crazy. Um, as always, if you have any new listings you want to share, you can either unmute and share that now. You can throw them in the chat if you like. If you're looking for open houses, looking to host them, or need people to host them, you can throw that in the chat as well. This is where we do business sometimes, you know? We have a network that we can do these things with. We have our network meeting with now 60 people on and rooms filled with even more people. So I'm excited to be here with you guys for our first network meeting of the year. All right. Anybody have something good they specifically want to share before we dive into stack graphics? I see some. Oh, Jordan's outstanding and with like a lot of letters, so that's good. Throw anything in the chat, you guys. Stack graphics are available today, so you can be the area expert where you live and post it on social media. You can edit them and tailor them to your liking with your logos, but those should be in your inbox today. Family reunion. Drop it in the chat if you guys are going. Here's a QR code if you want more information. It is February 21st, which that's literally almost in a month. It's crazy. Like once the holidays are over, we just start time's going by, right? So check it out. Talk to people in your market center, see who else is going. It's always so much fun when we get groups together and we can hang out together as well. It's in Atlanta this year. It's going to be great. All right, Sydney, are you on here? How's script practice going? He's doing this every morning, you guys. So awesome. Here is a QR code for you to join in. It is weekdays at 8:30. I was just talking to the team leaders yesterday about how important our scripts are. What you say to people, right? Your words matter. So master your real estate scripts. Join script practice.
It's going really well.
Oh, yay! Good. Well, thank you for doing it. I'm so excited that you took it over. There's no one better that could have taken it over, so we're really excited. Rising Tides. We are doing this every Thursday. We kicked off the new year last Thursday and we dove into some tiny habits. We're going to talk about some of those today later on in the meeting. So join us in Rising Tides. It's been really, really good, you guys. So scan the QR code. It's on Zoom, 9 a.m. Thursdays. And then same thing right after Rising Tides is Tech Thursday. And JC has them all planned out for the month. So you can look ahead, you can see if there's anything that you're interested in. If there's topics that you're interested in that you don't see, go to your leadership team and tell them because we will get them added for you. And for 2026, we rolled out some new stuff for you guys. So we are really, really excited. Haley and Abby have been a massive help in doing this, but we have our new and improved YouTube channel out. And we are going to have all of our videos posted. We are going to have Janine's contract classes. We are going to have Rising Tides and Tech Thursdays and our network meetings. So everything's going to be on here. Be sure and subscribe to it so you can stay up to date on everything. But if you're looking for some videos, this is where it's going to be. And then we have our new Moms Collective. It's starting tomorrow at 9:30. If you are a mom in our network and you want to join in, scan the QR code. It's a Zoom that we will be doing monthly. Your next best idea starts here. Okay, so you guys, we know that AI is literally transforming our entire, well, everything, right? Everything. So we have put together um, prompts for you that you will have access to every single month. We are putting together over 100 prompts to give you monthly to help build your business. If you get our network newsletter at the beginning of every month, there's going to be a link in there that you can access everything, and you will be able to access the past ones as well. So we're just putting together a drive, and they'll have monthly folders, and you'll have all of them available to you. And this is to help you with anything that you need, right? It's just an extra added source for you to use for your business. As always, reach out to me if you're interested in leadership. If you want to see what's going on, if you just want to learn more, let me know. And David, happy 2026. Tell us all about the market right now, my friend.
All right. So so all of you have access to the general stats that are sent out through the network, that are sent out that you have available through Trend Graphics and InfoSparks. So what I talk about here is meant to be a supplement to that, to complement that. And so you'll notice that I focus on certain things. And one thing is pending transactions. And part of the reason is because a lot of the market data that we get, actually I'd say most of it, is based on closed transactions. And if we look at lagging indicators versus leading indicators, a lagging indicator is something that happened a while back. So when we look at December stats, if we're looking at closed transactions, we're actually seeing what happened in November as far as a buyer and seller agreeing on price and terms. So a leading indicator, a more leading indicator, is pending transactions. So if we know what happened in December, as far as when buyers and sellers were actually agreeing to move forward, it gives us better information moving forward. So if we look at the general Puget Sound region as a whole, for December 2025, we were 54 days on market. And as expected, that was for closed transactions. And so, for example, that can come out of Trend Graphics, that can come out of InfoSparks, easy information to pull up. So that's up 6 days from November, and that's pretty predictable. We knew it was going up. Now, the key one here is 72 days on market for transactions that went pending in December, which is up 13 days over November for our whole area. So what we can predict now is that when the stats come out for the rest of the world on closed transactions and days on market, we know it's going to be higher than 54 for January. Right, it's probably going to be somewhere between 54 and 72. Right, because we have 72 days on market for transactions that went pending in December. Now, the reason this is important is because we know one thing happens in between December and January, is we know that days on market for pending transactions in January typically go down. But yet, when you look at the rest of the stats that agents give out, it will make it look like the days on market was increasing through January, even though most of you probably feel a lot more activity going on in January than December, right? So this is why we focus on pending transactions. We know what's going on right now. Other agents in February are going to be telling people, oh, days on market's increasing, when by that time we'll know that it's decreasing. So that's why we use this information. Now, if we look at the next one over, listings that went pending in 7 days or less, we had 18%. That's down 3% from last month. So a little less than 1 out of 5 going pending in 7 days or less for our whole area. For December, that's actually not bad. Still have 1 out of 5 selling within a week. Now, we'll be up to like 50, 60, 65% by spring, typically. So this is low compared to what late spring would look like. But still, it's an indication of, even though it's slow in December, or it was slow in December, that's not bad. So now we're going to see that number start to increase each month that goes by. But another key thing too, when we look at the listings that went pending in 7 days or less, is the ones that didn't go pending. that didn't accept an offer in that first 7 days, the average days on market was 87 days for that group, not 72. So that's something that's important for sellers to understand, is that if theirs isn't one of the ones that sell in the first week, that they're in a new category, a new statistical category of days on market that's actually longer than the rest of the market, right? So this is important information to have for both buyers and sellers. All right, so let's look at some additional pending transaction insights. 1 out of 5 had multiple offers, pending transactions in December. 5% had an escalation addendum. So it's not that only 5% started with an escalation addendum. 5% went pending with an escalation addendum. My guess is most of the time, if an escalation addendum was in the contract, it probably got taken out at some point during negotiations. So that's why it seems a little bit lower than it might be, considering there were 20% had multiple offers, right? 64%, about 2/3, had an inspection addendum. Now, I've always kind of thought this was low when I look at this compared to only 20% had multiple offers. That means 80% didn't have multiple offers, but yet only 64% had an inspection contingency on it, right? There might be pre-inspections, there might be other things going on, but 64% just seemed a little bit low to me, but that gives you an idea where we are. And then 79% had a financing addendum. So we've got 4 out of 5 buyers during the winter time that are obtaining financing generally. And what that also means too is this 79% is probably the peak. We're going to see that start to go down. And what happens is as higher price points start to sell more cash buyers are coming in at those higher price points actually. We'll see this probably go down to the low 70s on average for the Puget Sound region, because there will be more cash buyers coming into play, right? Okay, 96% was the average list sale price or pending price to list price ratio. 96%. So not bad for December, really. For all, if we're talking about all 8 counties that we're representing here. And I know there are a couple counties that some of you might work in that are not represented here, but they follow the same trend most likely. But 96% is the average pending price to list price ratio for December. Okay. All right, let's hit the next one. Taking a look at transactions that did not close. This is important as well too, because we want to be having the right conversations with sellers. We also want to be having the right conversations with buyers in terms of their expectations. In December, 21% of the pending transactions in December fell out of contract. A little over 1 out of 5. That surprise anyone? 1 out of 5 transactions didn't close, fell out of contract. Now we've discovered is during the winter, this percentage is a bit higher than it is in spring and summer. And so we probably hit about the peak for the winter. We'll see this most likely start to go down. But what happens is just a number of things that are happening here. Some sellers are digging in their heels, might have some unrealistic expectations. Properties are on the market for longer periods of time on average during the winter. And buyers feel they have more negotiating power when properties have been on the market for a while. So if we look at, of all of the transactions that fell out of contract in December, and we look at the days on market for just those ones that fell out of contract, they were at 85 days on market when they went under contract. And so that's a bit longer than the average days on market. So what it's telling us is that the longer days on market, the bigger number that is, the longer a property stays on the market, the more likely it is, a higher risk that the transaction will ultimately fall through. So we want to make sure that we understand that if we're a listing agent and we've got a listing that's been on the market for a while, we go pending, we want to make sure that buyer's serious. We want to make sure that the seller and the buyer have similar expectations on how this is going to go, right? You need to have these conversations. All right, let's look at how we fared overall in 2025. So we had a 29% inventory growth over the course of 2025. That actually is not bad. We were very low on inventory at the beginning of last year. We needed more inventory. We still are at pretty low inventory. We peaked at about 50 to 60% higher inventory year over year when we were in the spring. So we've actually eaten away at some of that excess inventory. So I think that's a healthy move on the inventory growth. Days on market increased 26% over 2025. Now, I think that's normal too, considering the inventory growth. More inventory equals more days on market, typically. So not a surprise there. That's a sign of generally a healthy market, at least nothing to be concerned about. Transaction count, as far as closed transactions in 2025, only increased actually less than 1%. I just rounded up, but a little bit less than 1% over 2024. We started 2025 up, kind of pulled back on the second half of the year a little bit. So we're kind of break even, just barely above 2024 transaction count. So we're still 39% below the 2021 transaction count peak. So we still have a big gap to fill, right? And that means there's a huge amount of pent up demand right now. There are a lot of people out there that would like to move, but for one reason or another, they feel they can't, right? They're waiting for things to change. They're waiting for interest rates to go down, affordability, or whatever it might be, right? In 2020, we saw price appreciation most of the year, but a lot of the counties saw some price declines in fourth quarter. Very small though, 1 to 3% price declines, October, November, December time period. But we'll get that back probably this month because we've gotten kind of a pretty healthy start, in my opinion, to 2026. So that's a summary of what happened in 2025. And so far in 2026, we've seen pretty strong January, probably at least equal or maybe slightly above 2025. So we're getting a healthy start to 2026 right now, right? Okay, let's hit the next one. All right, so that's it for the stats, but I wanted to make sure that you know that the productivity coaching program has a training program and certification program for agents in productivity coaching where we will train and certify agents to hold open houses for other agents and also to show homes for other agents. So if you have an open house you need hosted or you have a property that needs to be shown, buyer that needs to be shown a property, hit one of these QR codes, the appropriate one, and it will show a list of everybody who's been certified. So you can access that. And it's for all 8 brokerages. All right, so that's it for me.
I just want to add that's so important because we want to have people that we can trust that they're representing us as agents, right? So whether they're showing your clients a house or hosting an open house for you, you want to have people that you know are trained at a level that they're going to do a good job in representing you. So it's awesome that you guys do this and we have a list for everybody to choose from. And if you're interested in getting on the list, David, do they just contact you or how does that work?
Yeah, anyone in productivity coaching should know, but I'd say reach out to your coach. And if you're not sure how to get on that list or how to get certified. Also, too, I do appreciate feedback. So if anyone ever has feedback, positive or negative, about anyone who's held an open house that you got from that list or any showing agents that has shown a listing for you, feel free to reach out directly to me. Or if you're not sure how to reach me, just reach out to your coach in your office as well. And then that word will get back to me as well, too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Janine.
Good morning. Sorry about that. Choking a little bit.
Morning.
How is everybody doing? Okay. I have a bunch of good reminders for you. Coming up this month, we have Hill Day out at Olympia. Excuse me. The key date is Thursday, the 29th. If you haven't registered, I recommend you signed up. We meet with lobbyists, we meet with representatives that help support our causes for our industry and to help with our consumers. Very important day to go and visit and see what that looks like. First timers, it's free. Drive to the go onto your local realtor site, and they'll have a link how you can register, where you're going to need to go, and then we hop on a bus, you get lunch, and then we go have a fun-filled day. In King County for septic, for Seattle King County, they're introducing a new SMS versus email. So sign up for that. That is a wonderful tool to be able to get your information. It'll tell you about classes. It'll tell you about upcoming events like Battle of the Barristers. So if you're in Seattle King County Association, sign up to receive text messages instead of snail mail or email. Next slide, please. Rules and regulations to remember. We've been having some issues. I just had disciplinary board on yesterday, Monday. And here are some very important reminders of the do nots at the Northwest MLS. Never give out your MLS password to any team member, TC, office leadership. I have access as DBs. Your DBs have access. And we can go in and see you. You should never have to give us your passwords. You're not even allowed to give us your passwords. They already give us a global look. So make sure that you never give that out to anybody. Do not solicit active listings. Make sure that you are going into the Northwest MLS. If you receive a list daily, make sure that you go into history. Make sure it wasn't relisted with some sort of a change, whether it was price, something weird with the address, or a different agent. So make sure that it's not relisted. Do not tell a seller that they can cancel a listing. If you get a phone call, which a seller is more than welcome to call you, you can take that phone call. You can talk about how you're going to market the property, but you can't say once you're canceled with the current brokerage. You can say once you are expired with the current brokerage, I can then go over more in detail pricing and next steps. So making sure that you're using the appropriate language not to get yourself into trouble. Do not show a property without a approved showing appointment. Make sure that you're reading the showing options that they are telling you to be able to show, whether it's a phone call to the listing agent, a text to the listing agent, or through showing time. Follow whatever showing instructions are in the listing, especially if they've got a limit on please do not show under a 2-hour window. So a lot of listings, especially if there's little ones or people that need to get out of the house or get the house ready, they may have a time frame where they say, you need to have a 2-hour or soon, earlier request in order to show. If you cannot make a showing, cancel it through the same way that you made the appointment. Showing time, phone call, text message. I am a big fan, if it is a phone call situation, that you follow it up with a text. So you make sure that it is documented, because I know that there'll be people out there that will try to throw you under the bus, and we don't want that to happen. Never tell a buyer that they can cancel their buyer agreements. That is another violation. There's not a rule around it currently with the Northwest MLS, but they do use bylaw number 1 to penalize us if we tell a person how to cancel a buyer agreement. An example of that would be Lena says, I want to cancel my agreement with my buyer broker, David Monroe, and I then tell her, have him send you a form 53 to cancel that, and then I can start working with you. That would be a huge violation. So do not do that. Never give form numbers out to somebody, because they will 100% use that against you. Septic maintenance rebate update. King County has extended the funding through July of 27. The program will run out. The program helps homeowners save on routine maintenance of their septic system and helps reduce their costs. Your client may qualify for the rebates. So make sure that if you go into the Northwest MLS down there at the bottom, I've told you where you can find that information if you've got a client that's on a septic system and they want to look into this. Again, King County only. Go into the MLS and they've got a link to take you directly where you need to go. The Kirkland office at the Northwest MLS will remain open on January 19th. It is a legal holiday for computation of time. So if you're counting your days forwards or backwards in your contract, make sure that you note that the 19th is a legal holiday, and you cannot end on that date, and you can't count that date if it's 5 days or less. 6 days or more, you can count it, but you can't end on it. And then reminder that the Northwest MLS is going paperless, so no checks. So you will need to get set up in the Northwest MLS with a credit card for automatic payments to go through. Otherwise, they will start to slap your hand and fine you and put you on the naughty list.
And we don't want that.
No, we don't. That is all I have for you guys today.
Can I add one thing? I think it was 2 slides ago
Sure.
on checking the notes for showings. If yes, number 4. If you sometimes we book a bunch of showings in advance, check them the same day that you're going to go tour the house because it could no longer be active.
Yes.
And you don't want to show up and walk in and it's pending and the
Great
sellers are
footnote.
there or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
any
Thank you.
questions? Let us know. Use your DBs. You're welcome to always call me as well. We're happy to help.
Awesome. I cannot wait for this mortgage update after seeing the rates.
I know you guys, they're going in the right direction, aren't they? Yeah,
I
they
was
are.
telling Haley, I opened up my email and I was like, oh my gosh.
I know it's an exciting time. So this chart just gives you a visual of where we were last year to where we are now. So a difference of a little over 1% in the interest rate. And what does that do for your clients, for you guys personally that have mortgages? It is the power of one. We have been promoting this through our marketing. If you guys aren't getting our marketing emails every week, they go out on Mondays. Please drop your email in the chat and we will make sure that you are added to that list. If you go to the next slide, the power of one is 1% drop in rates equates to around 10% increase in buying power or 10% lower monthly payment. So this chart is, these two social tiles are just an example of what's shared with you guys in those Monday emails that you can share on your social media and with your clients. We give you scripts and tools that you can use in your conversations. This is a real powerful one. Again, this payment structure one, use very loosely, have them talk to us. Don't go into the details too much. Send them over to us so that we can advise them accurately on their individual situation. So mortgage interest rates, what is happening? We have seen that we've had a decline. As you know, anyone that's been around for the last few years at least, the market is unpredictable. We are hoping for rates to continue to drop. However, the projection really is that we're going to stay in this range for most of the year, which you guys is not a bad range. I have been leveraging seller credits to get clients in the mid fives, low fives. So there is opportunity out there. 6 is still a really good interest rate as well. 2 years ago we were in the 8s. So it's all about perspective and so what you can expect and what I would say in your conversations with your clients is, rates are sitting in the six range. Let me get you in contact with our preferred lender and they can dig into those details for you specifically. Are we in a buyer's market? It kind of feels like it's shifted. Supply and demand, rates are going down, the lowest in nearly 3 years. Inventory has been creeping up. I think we kind of hit a ceiling a little bit, but we know it's seasonal, so expecting that to continue to grow. Price reductions, I've been seeing a lot of price reductions on the lending side. The biggest thing I think that you can do to help your clients is have that partnership with your lender and know that a price reduction on an offer might not be, most likely isn't the best path for your client financially. We can leverage a seller credit and get them a lot more savings in the long run. So just make sure you're keyed in with whether it's me, JC, Shannon, I think is on the call. check in with us and we can be your partner there. Another example of what we share with you guys every week, social media tiles that you can share with your clients. And another thing too, we offer scripts in these emails as well. So a lot of people are waiting for lower rates in 26. We're going to be pretty flat, but if you haven't been watching the rates have come down since last year, 6 months ago, et cetera. The biggest thing to keep in mind when you are having those conversations with people who are rate sensitive is the cost of waiting. You can access the cost of waiting tool on any of our Envoy websites. I encourage all of you to get out there and check out the mortgage calculators that are available on the Envoy Mortgage website. You can use them in real time with your clients just to run scenarios, get a good idea of what they can expect. It's especially helpful when you have a pre-approval, like for instance, with my agent partners, they know, okay, this client's interest rate is going to sit around this percentage. Interest rates are hyper specific to the individual application. So quoting just a range is a safe thing to do, but really getting them connected with us so that we can drill in and get them the numbers that they can review for actual estimates. But once you have those numbers, you can go in during your showing appointments. Okay, great. This house is this much. We know from Jennifer that your rate is sitting right around 6. You're bringing this much in, and that calculator is going to tell you exactly what they can expect as far as monthly payment and total cost. So it's not meant to replace a conversation with me, of course, or your lender. It's just a tool to help speed to lead, speed to offer, and make decisions out in the field. I did want to just touch on a success story that we just had this last week with Katie Citinella here in the Bellingham office. We helped a couple with a down payment assistance program through Washington State. They had come to Katie not really confident that they could buy, not confident that they were ready. They were waiting on a tribal loan to come through. The government was shut down at that point, so they really were feeling discouraged and feeling like it wasn't the right time for them. Katie pursued them and got them in conversation with me. We explored their options. They still were hesitant with me. Oh, my lease isn't up till spring. I don't know. I'm not sure. We don't have a lot of money saved up. I think we need to pay back debts down. Once we really dug into it and looked at it, they started to feel a little more comfortable to the point where they went on a few showings with Katie. The second house that they saw with her, they made an offer and went under contract. We were able to leverage seller credit to cover their closing costs. We got 5% from the state to cover additional down payment costs. They came to the table with their earnest money, which was $1,000. So they went from not thinking they could do it to doing it within 30 days at a total cost of $1,000. So there's programs out there. Connect with us. Like I said, JC, Shannon, and myself, we are here and available for you guys as a resource. So please utilize that.
What a good story. And I do love the mortgage calculator. I use that all the time, even just for myself for fun. Like, oh, let me just plug in these numbers.
Yeah.
I
The
love it.
cost of waiting too is really helpful. So if you do have someone, I got sidetracked down that road, but if you have someone that is, oh, I'm just going to wait till rates come down. Great. Let's look at what that looks like. You guys are the experts on appreciation in your area. Plug in the appreciation for your area and show them how much equity they're going to miss out on if they wait. Because we can always refinance them down the road. We offer a no lender fee refinance to all our return clients. So it's a less of a cost for them. So it is a smarter move to get in now and refi later than it is to wait and then compete and pay more.
But they don't know that unless we talk to them, right?
Exactly.
Having those tools is awesome. Thank you. And okay, we are going to dive in now, you guys. Does anybody, show of hands or drop in the chat, listen to the Mel Robbins podcast? I feel like that's a pretty popular one. I was on a flight from Seattle to Chicago or vice versa, and it was actually on the back of the plane, the screen, and I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this and put it on. And she did an episode called Seven Tiny Habits for a Tired Life. And I was like, oh, I have a tired life. I can go ahead and listen to this and take some notes. So I started listening. I took a bunch of notes, and the team leaders have heard this, and we talked a little bit about this on the Rising Tides last week. But I thought that we could talk about it today. And if you want to unmute and chime in, or like I said, throw things in the chat, that is great too. But I wanted to talk about the 7 tiny habits for a tired real estate agent. And you're probably thinking, well, it's a new year. Like maybe I'm not so tired yet. But everybody in January wants to set these big goals. And it's great if you do that. It's great for our business and our personal lives. But I think it's important to know the habits to do or that we need to incorporate to hit the goals, right? So we need to set tiny habits to help us do that and hit the goals. We know the compounding effect that doing a little bit over time is a lot easier than incorporating maybe some big, huge goal immediately out the gate. But tiny habits are designed so that they're small and easy. Now, they require maybe minimal efforts, not as much as something bigger, but it just makes it easier to do, right? As real estate agents, everybody's so busy doing so many things, buyers and sellers, and we have AI we have to learn, and we have social media that we have to master, and we have all of the things, right? So if we have little goals or little habits, it's a lot easier to be more consistent with that, right? It's a lot easier to make those compound over time. And it also makes you feel more confident when you're achieving those, right? You don't have to admit it, but has anybody set some goals January 1st that maybe now by today, January 13th, you aren't doing anymore? Or you have, I hate using the word failed at, but you have just like decided to not do it anymore, right? So if you do little tiny habits and hacks and you achieve those, it makes you feel better about yourself doing it, right? It makes you feel like you have this positive confidence that you're doing it, you're achieving something. Now, Mel goes into on her podcast the like psychological way that the brain works. I'm not going to go into all that. I don't even remember everything that she said, but there's something that our brain does, and there's a way that we feel, and doing that, accomplishing things and boosting your energy and confidence, that does something to us, right? So I want to go into the 7 tiny habits that she talked about and how you can use them, or one or two of them, to help you hit your own goals. So the first one, replay the good stuff. Now, this one you could do, you could have an album on your phone where you just take screenshots of stuff. Maybe you have some cards that you've gotten on your desk. But this is revisiting the good things. Because especially in our industry, it's easy to go down the negative rabbit hole. Oh, a deal fell through. Rates suck. Not today because they're 5.99, right? But it's easy to have that negative kind of outlook on things sometimes. You get a buyer that's upset. You get a deal that's rejected. You're uncertain. Oh my gosh, we've gone back and forth negotiating and then the deal falls through. There's a lot of things that can happen in this world of real estate. So replaying the good stuff, revisiting those photos that you took of your buyers getting their keys, or your reviews that you got, or somebody telling you that you changed their life because you help them get into a home. Like the client that Jennifer Rogers was just sharing about, they brought $1,000 to the closing table. That's incredible, right? So going back and remembering the good stuff, remembering why you got into this business in the first place. Why did you get into real estate? Why do you do what you do? Now, Mel talked about her example was looking at old photos, right? Of like your kids, your grandparents, anything that makes you happy. And again, she goes into like the dopamine and the psychological part. But the important thing to remember is just creating that win folder, call it that, to help you remember that in times of distress or negative times that you remember what you're capable of doing, right? So replaying the good stuff. Habit number two. And that for habit number one, that's something that you can literally do daily. You can have something on your phone. Maybe it is just pictures of your kids or something, right? Something that gets you into that positive mindset. Habit number two. I got to say, this is my favorite one. And you think it sounds silly, turning your prospecting into a club. You're like, what is she talking about? And I did have this conversation with the team leaders and told them they need to make the market centers into a club. So if you walk in and you all of a sudden hear like music, it's my fault. I'm sorry. But it does something to the energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be club music, you guys. It can be whatever music you like, right? But turn your prospecting into a club. It doesn't have to be a negative, unhappy experience where you're cold calling and lead generating, right? Put on some music. What makes you happy? What changes your mood? When I'm driving, I love blasting music in the car. We are a music-centered family and we fight over who gets to pick what songs are next. In Mel Robbins' example, it was turn your kitchen into a club because that's where you're like cooking dinner, doing dishes, maybe things you don't want to do. Make it a happy place to be, right? So with lead generation, put on music. Maybe you're writing note cards. Maybe you're following up with people. Maybe you are, whatever it is that you're doing in your office or at home and trying to work, play some music that's going to give you a positive energy, right? It makes things more enjoyable that maybe those things weren't as enjoyable. And your vibe and your mood affect everything. They're going to affect you when you're around your family, your friends. It's going to affect your buyers and sellers when you get in front of them. What open house would you rather go into? One that's playing music or one that it's like dead silent and everybody's just standing there, right? You want to go into an enjoyable environment. So turn your prospecting into a club. Then you show up energized and your prospects will feel it even on the phone, right? All right, habit number three. This one is such a good one. The first name game. This is so massive for real estate. We meet people all the time. You are meeting people at open houses. How many times have you been in an open house? Tell me it's not just me. That I meet somebody and I go, what was their name? Like literally 2 seconds later. They walk away and I'm like, I was listening, but it was like not active listening or so, I don't know, so many things going on up here, right? So the first name game, what Mel said is that you repeat the person's name. Oh, hi, Haley, nice to meet you, right? You repeat it back. And then what you should do is take notes about the person after. Now, hopefully, the majority of people on this call have a CRM. Hopefully, if you don't, talk to your leadership team and they can help you get your set up, right? But you should put the notes in your CRM with every person that you meet. Mel gave the example that she met a valet guy and, learned about his kids and whatever. She puts the notes in her phone so that before she goes to see somebody again, she goes, oh, yeah, let me look him up on my phone. Oh, yeah, it's so and so, the valet guy, and he has 2 kids. So then she goes to see him again and she goes, oh, hey, Doug, how's Sally? And he's like, oh my gosh. It makes that person feel special. It makes that person feel like you remembered who they are, even if you just looked at your phone or CRM, they don't need to know that. David.
One thing I'll throw in here, if this
Yes.
is, has it ever happened to you when someone told you their name and you immediately forgot? This happened to me.
Yes.
But so on this note, they also feel valued. If you immediately forgot their name, they actually feel valued if you're like, oh, shoot, can you remind me of your name again? And then they give you their name again, and then you repeat it several times.
Yes. Yes. And again, like, so back at that one, if you go up to them and say their name, help them out by saying your own name again, right? Hey, David. Oh, it's Lena. Remember we met at da 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 da. Because they probably don't remember yours either, but you're helping them out where they don't have to feel awkward and ask you again, right? So saying their name a couple times, but also offering up your own when you see them again too. So why it matters. People feel valued when you remember their name. Like David suggested, even if you're asking them, what was it again? Even if you just heard it a minute prior, right? This works at all of your stuff, your office meetings, sales meetings, appointments, networking events, everywhere that you go. Starbucks, open houses, right? Sometimes you can't pronounce the name. Ask him to repeat it. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? Oh, that's so pretty. Can you run that by me again? How did you say it? I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly, right? And then when you take your notes, write in your notes the pronunciation. All right, moving on. Habit number 4, write one handwritten note a day. Anybody that has taken Ignite knows that you do the 5 notes a day, right? Um, in my opinion, it doesn't even have to be just a card. It could be slapping post-it notes on people's doors in the office, right? It could be slipping notes under people's doors, sending them a card in the mail, shooting them a text message, saying thank you or thinking of you. Imagine if you did that to people in your sphere and just sent them notes. Saying thank you or reaching out to people, again, just like the name game, makes them feel important, heard, seen, right? I can't tell if somebody's trying to speak, if somebody unmuted. Um, and it leads to referrals. You're not necessarily doing it with like a hidden agenda, but you're doing it and you're reaping the benefits from you reaching out and doing it to people, right? It's the number one habit that top performers and top producers use to stay top of mind to people. So, little things that you can do. Remember, this whole idea is the little habits and hacks that you can do to make your business bigger and to achieve your goals. So, small little notes that doesn't take you a lot of time. At the end of the day, just do a quick couple cards, right? Whatever it is, just reach out to people with some type of note. All right, habit number 5. I know we only have like 10 minutes. This one I think is so important for anybody in any walk of life, but cheer for other agents like it's your own win. Sometimes it's hard in our industry when you're seeing somebody else. Oh, they just closed a $3 million deal. Oh, they just closed 10 deals this month. It's hard when and if you're struggling on your own. But it is so important. And this, I think, is just a life lesson for everybody, for our kids, for coworkers, for everybody. Cheer for other people like it's your own win. When another agent has a successful situation or story, celebrate it. Congratulate them. It does so much. It actually makes your brain feel like you had a win yourself, which is then encouraging to yourself without you even knowing it. Be sincere, right? Real estate can be so isolating if you're a solo agent. Why not be friends and cheer for people and cheer them on? It shifts your mindset. It boosts your own motivation, right? And there really is enough success to go around. So lifting each other up makes you look good, makes you feel good, connects you with people, and it really is all about relationships and connection. And you can do the same with your clients too. If you see things on social media, I mean, we see everything on social media. Celebrate, comment, like it, reach out to them, use your little note card hack that you're going to do every day to reach out about something you saw on social media to congratulate them and cheer for them. Oh, I saw your son got into Harvard. Oh, I saw that, congratulate people and cheer for them. And it's a win-win. Number 6, be an 8-minute connector. This may sound silly. Mel Robbins in her podcast said, be an 8-minute friend. I was like, what is she talking about? It's kind of weird. Um, but we're all on the go. Yet our database is a huge thing in our business, and we're always hearing, reach out to your database, connect with your database. How many times can you call your database a year, right? So be an 8-minute connector. Use the time in your day that you're running to the grocery store, you're going to get gas. Call somebody. Reach out to a past client. Reach out to a current client. Reach out to a buyer that was on the fence. Tell them today, hey, rates are at 5.99. Except don't say it like that. Jennifer said, tell them they're between 5.99 and 6. There's a range. But check in with them. You use this little time that you have and even say, hey, I'm on the way to the grocery store. I just wanted to check in on you, because then they know that you're going to be pulling into the grocery store soon. So you have an out, right? But use it to connect with people. Message a possible lead. It takes 2 seconds, right? Send some voice notes. If any of you get random text messages from me, I literally will use Siri to send voice notes while I'm curling my hair or doing things like that, because you can just use your tech and be a quick connector. Send messages to people. It lets them know that you're thinking about them. It lets them know that you're caring. You're strengthening your relationships. I have to use this with my family. I don't like talking on the phone all the time with them. So I use my quick little, I'm running to the store, Mom. How's it going? Right? Be that 8-minute connector, but be purposeful with those little batches of time that you have, because the tiny little things add up over time. Your consistency will win over time. All right, habit number 7. This is the last one. Take an awe walk. Now, Mel talked about going outside, looking at something every single day that makes you feel positive and happy and just bringing you back to a sense of peace and joy. And wow, that this is really great, right? Picking something. So, in shifting this to being for a real estate agent, thought about what about taking an awe walk through the area that you work? If you focus on a specific area, take a walk around. Why do you love this place? Why do you work in this place? Why do you sell this place to people? What makes you happy to be there? What makes you proud of the area that you're in? Right? Go through your market center, go through your office, go through your home, your street that you live on. First of all, taking a break from working for a second to go walk around is beneficial in and of itself, right? But reminding yourself again why you love the place that you're in, why you're there. You're also regulating emotions. It's motivating you, right? We're in this constant go, go, go in this business. And sometimes it's okay to take a step back, walk around, and remind yourself what you're doing and why you're here. So hopefully, one of 7 of these resonated with you, or maybe a couple did. Remember, small actions compound over time. You don't need to overhaul by all these big, audacious habits, right? Little tiny habits are okay. It's easier to do. Can't come up with as many as excuses, right? Because they're easier, but it should help and compound over time. So hopefully that was beneficial. Go listen to Mel's podcast. She said it all way better. But this will be up on YouTube, right, Haley? Oh, the challenge. Pick one of the habits and start. Start today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Start today. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for being here. Any other thoughts that anybody has? David, Janine, anybody? Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.